What is up, YouTube? This is X, back with a One Piece chapter 1059 review. This chapter was absolutely amazing, and Oda just keeps delivering good stuff. Like this, One Piece going into this final saga is about to be one of the best manga series, hands down, especially week to week. Like when you consume manga week to week compared to binge watching it, it's different. But week to week, oh, One Piece is so good right now. Also, as you can see, I'm wearing a Debo jersey, Debo Samuel, for the San Francisco 49ers. It's NFL. Shout out to NFL football. It's finally back. NFL Sunday, all day, red zone, something you absolutely love to see. So I'm getting prepared for that as well. But this time of year is just great. So into the review, we shall begin. So we start off with the cover page with Caesar Clown's Deadly Voyage, and we have Caesar using his hallucinogenic, can't even talk, gas to confuse Katakuri and Oven into fighting each other. This makes sense if we look at the last cover page where Germa and Caesar are talking and they're covering up their faces because the smell and whatnot. And Caesar saying, "Oh, please take me with you," etc., etc. So he's using this hallucinate gas on the entire area, but I'm guessing he's using his powers to like filter it for Germa, and he's like so he can talk to them. So I'm assuming they make their escape. This is how they make their escape. Honestly, I'm totally fine with this. Makes sense, etc. Cool. End of the like we can continue the story or not, but I think it just makes sense to I don't want to say end it right here, but to come to a conclusion where Germa can be reintroduced back into the story. Yeah. So we start off with actually Marco was on the red hair pirate ship. So he sensed Shanks' hockey when Shanks was in Wano, and he was like, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna go hitchhike a ride back to Sphinx Island." And we get a flashback of Marco leaving Wano, and we actually get a chance to see Marco getting in contact with Luffy, and he mentions saying like this era is yours and whatnot. I thought it was a really nice touch that Marco said like Luffy, Ace would be really proud of how much you've grown. That was a really nice touch. In this flashback, we also see Luffy discussing with Yamato on joining the crew and why Yamato stayed in Wano. Honestly, it makes a ton of sense. The thing is, we already knew this. Let's be real. We already knew that Yamato was staying in Wano just so she can help deal with other invaders on like who other invaders who are of significantly greater power, essentially. I feel like I already knew that was the case, and why Greenbow invaded Wano. Like that was one of his main reasons. So we basically just got confirmation on that, and it's also like Oda doing damage control because I guess some of the people felt like Yamato not joining the crew wasn't validated, but she'll join the crew eventually. I'll love to see that as well. Now that Marco engaged with Luffy when he was leaving, it kind of doesn't make sense for Luffy to go to Sphinx Island because Marco is headed back to Sphinx Island. Does it make sense for them to meet up? If Oda didn't show us this flashback, it would make sense for why Luffy and Co is going to Sphinx Island. But I don't think the next island is going to be Sphinx Island anymore. I think we're going to Elbaf, or based on what happened at the end of this chapter, we might be going to Honeycomb, where Blackbeard is. I don't know. This is interesting. I'm pretty sure Sphinx Island is out of the question, and we should be going to Elbaf or Honeycomb. Honestly, I'm going to go with Elbaf because we just need more lore. Like, we just need, I think, the end of the saga, this final saga needs to reveal more lore about the One Piece. Well, One Piece world in general. I think we would get that with Honeycomb as well, but I think Elbaf gives us even more lore when it comes to the ancient history, etc. So we need to go to Elbaf. We're going to Elbaf. And then we pan to Amazon Lily to see the present day of the result of the Marines invading Amazon Lily when the warlord system got abolished. And we see Hancock with bandage wrapped around her face, damaged, completely beaten. And the first thing she says is, "Oh, I should be married to Luffy right now." And she's not even worried about her own current well-being. It's typical Hancock comedy. But we go into a flashback of the incident that happened that day when the Marines invaded Amazon Lily. And we see the Marines and Amazon Lily warriors are engaged in combat. And the Vice Admiral, I believe, Yamakiji, he deploys the new pacifista, this new SSG group called the Seraphims, on to the Amazon Lily warriors. And the Amazon Lily warriors are like, I believe her name is Margaret. She's like, whoa, what is this? I can't fight a child. And letting you know this child is going crazy, doing absolutely everything, destroying the warriors, overpowering them, overwhelming them. And they're just shocked, like, what the heck is going on? And it's revealed that the Seraphims, these new pacifista, have the same traits that the Lunarians have. White hair, black wings, on fire, and brown skin. I have a crazy theory. Actually, it's probably not crazy, but I have a theory that I'll get to at the end of this chapter, describing what I think, just like the history on these Seraphims and like how they are meant to be. So then we see the Marines executing their assault on Amazon Lily. And what do you know? Blackbeard spins the block. He pulls up. Blackbeard pulls up on Amazon Lily and the Marines. And he's just like, oh, the devil, Boa Hancock's devil fruit's mine. And the fact that I didn't see this coming. When Blackbeard said, oh, Marines, they're going to leave that for the taking, he was referring to Boa Hancock's devil fruit, which is kind of surprising. I didn't think, maybe he knows it's definitely a powerful fruit, but maybe he needs it for something specific. I would have never thought it was Boa Hancock's fruit, but we'll see. But Blackbeard pulls up. He overpowers the Marines, does his earthquake. He pulls up with Vasco shot, I believe, and Katarina Devon. And they're essentially saying, we are kidnapping or taking Boa Hancock, dead or alive, because this is just pirate Black Air Force activity right now. So he pulls up, does his damage. So we pan to Kobe in the middle of the Amazon Lily City. I forget, honestly, like the city center, let's say. And Boa Hancock's still not outside. She's like, it's just the Amazon warrior, the Amazonian warriors engaging with the Marines. And Kobe's telling her surrender, like she's just gonna up and surrender peacefully. Let's be real. Like that's actually gonna happen. And we see that, then we pan to Blackbeard's crew getting destroyed by a completely different pacifista. And Blackbeard's like, hold on. He says white hair, black wings, etc. He's like, hold on. I think Blackbeard knows, like Blackbeard definitely knows about the Lunarians and their history. And he's like, whoa, what is going on here? This shouldn't be a thing. And he sees his crew get absolutely destroyed. One of his ships goes down, I believe. His crew absolutely destroyed by this pacifista. And this pacifista has the traits of King, which is like, he's a Lunarian and all that. But, well, in my live reaction, I thought this was like a clone copy of King. But I'm looking at the sword, and it looks like Mihawk. Like, that is insane. So it seems like the Marines have basically made these new pacifistas to model the previous warlords. And just similar to the first pacifista that was shown in this chapter, it looks just like Boa Hancock. So that's actually pretty interesting that they literally replace the warlord system with the same warlords, but just significantly more upgrades and younger. I just got a text. Let me turn that to silent. Anyway, Blackbeard, like, holy cow, the pacifista engages Blackbeard, a Yonko at that. That just shows how powerful these pacifistas are. Engages Blackbeard. Blackbeard has to use armor hockey. He blocks the attack, and the slash cuts the island. That is insane. Like, I mean, cutting islands may not be as big of a feat as people think it is, but I think it's a big feat just to demonstrate, like, we can get an understanding of the power level. These, like, pacifistas may not be Yonko level, but we understand, like, their power level. And this Mihawk child, baby Mihawk is how people refer to. Baby Mihawk showing this level of power while engaging the Yonko just demonstrates how this SSG group can simply overtake the previous warlords. Like the Marines don't even need the previous warlords anymore. It makes sense. We move on to back to the city center where Kobe and Hancock were, and Hancock uses her powers to turn pretty much everyone to stone. Everyone to stone, and she's engaging with Kobe and whatnot. It's kind of fuzzy what like the deal of events. The next thing you know, we got Blackbeard just pulls up, grabs Hancock by the neck, and submits her, and prevents her from using her powers. And then Kobe's there on the ground too, as well. So it's not really clear what's going on. And I believe the pacifista was about to engage it again, but Kobe tells him to stop because there would be significant casualties. And it's just so interesting how like all these three factions here, they have their own specific agendas. And I feel like Blackbeard's makes it more interesting because he just messes everything up and just causes chaos and is just there for the taking. And Blackbeard's like, okay, you're gonna turn everyone back to from stone back to their original state, or I kill you. And Kobe's there begging him to stop. Boa, we need her, etc. And as soon as he's about to, actually, during this conversation, we learn that this is not Blackbeard and Kobe's first interaction with one another. At the Rocky Port incident, somehow, some way, Kobe was able to help Blackbeard and having Blackbeard take over Honeycomb Island, which is Pirate Island. And that's just interesting because we learned that before, who was in charge of Pirate Island was a former Rocks member, Zhang, is it Zhang Li or Wei Zhang? I believe he's like in Thriller Bark, he was the night guy. He was like the big night guy with the gold armor. But it's just interesting how Blackbeard says Kobe helped him take him down. I wonder how. Maybe Kobe did the work and then Blackbeard did the finishing work where he just swooped in again and like after like what is it? Blackbeard did the cleanup and took some credit, which Blackbeard took advantage of that opportunity, I think. I don't know. I'll probably get a video out once I do a little bit more research on what I think might happen. But we learned that Kobe and Blackbeard engaged with one another prior to this incident right here. So Blackbeard's like, okay, I'm going to kill you regardless. And as soon as he's about to do it, the GOAT pulls up. The GOAT Rayleigh pulls up with his Conqueror's Haki confirmed. You see the panel. Conqueror's Haki confirmed. And everyone shook. Everyone is shook. Besides Hancock. But Blackbeard shook and Kobe shook. And honestly, Rayleigh's still a problem. He's definitely like, I'd say below Mihawk level if we really talking. But Rayleigh pulls up and is saying, I don't really rock with you, Blackbeard. I'm ending this right now. So we transition back to the present day, no more flashback, and we see that Rayleigh and Shaki is there with Boa and the rest of the Amazonians, and we learn that Shaki was the former empress from two generations ago of like ruling. She's the former empress of Amazon Lily, which just makes a ton of sense to why Rayleigh is so connected to Amazon Lily, like how he's able to just swim through the combat, casually get there. He's definitely been in that land before. And like Rayleigh's pulling an empress, Luffy gotta pull. At the end of this series, Luffy gotta pull. He has to pull Hancock at the end of this series. But yeah, we learned, Shaki was a part of the crew, and it used to be the Empress of Amazon Lily, and she was a part of Rock's crew, I believe, as well. Pretty sure she was. Also, it's pretty much confirmed that Rayleigh cannot take Blackbeard 1v1. He even states that in his current state he couldn't, but I'm pretty sure his reputation anywhere he goes will solidify his strength and whatnot. So finally, we conclude this bang of a chapter with Kobe being kidnapped by Blackbeard. This is insane. Blackbeard was probably thinking, damn, I didn't get the devil fruit, Boa Hancock's devil fruit. Now I'm about to just take Kobe and use this as leverage with the Marines. So this way, Blackbeard could be like, he could say, y'all have this. The only way y'all get Kobe back is if y'all give me this. Whether it's like with a devil fruit that Marines may have, or I don't know, something they may have. Blackbeard's always a schemer. He's always like one step ahead. Like, even though I took this L, I took a W somewhere else. That's what makes Blackbeard just so dangerous. Like, as part of his character. He's just a GOAT, mastermind at just scheming, really. And that concludes the chapter. Bang of a chapter, 11 out of 10. Honestly, I think this chapter was better than last week's, to be honest. It was just a fantastic chapter. And to my theory on what these seraphims are, like their origins, or the pacifista, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I believe, similar to how Germa 66 created their army by these, I believe they call them clones. They literally genetically engineer them using the lineage factor. I believe Vegapunk was able to combine the lineage factor of the Lunarians, like 100% lineage factor of Lunarians, with the former warlords lineage factors or whatnot, their DNA. He was able to combine them, and he's been developing them just like how Germa 66 develops their soldiers for their army. He's been developing them in the little cubicles and whatnot, the cylindric, I don't know, cylindric capsules that form the clones. He's been developing them for quite some time. That's why it's been taking a while for these new pacifistas to be ready, and that's why they're children. You know, it took, I think it, like, for the men and women of the Germa 66 army to be 33 years old, I think it took 8 years. So let's just, a rough estimate, these have just been developed for 2 years. That would make sense that they're children, I guess. I'm not sure. Someone could do the math on that and correct me. But overall, he used the lineage factor from Lunarians and each of the former warlords and made a pacifista for each of the former warlords, combining those. And that's why they're children, because he probably could have had them grow even more to be like the same age as them, but it probably would have took longer, and the Marines would probably like, no, we're using them right now. That's why they're childlike, and they have the Lunarian, the features and attributes. Honestly, I can't wait to learn more about the Lunarians, because it seems like they are so important to the history, and like they were the ruling class, like the ruling gods and whatnot, and like they were just so powerful. But like, how did they get overwhelmed to be almost extinct, and that the government is still using their abilities in current today? Super interesting stuff. I think I need to completely do more research, but my headcanon theory is these are basically clones of the former warlords with lineage factors of Lunarians combined, and it just makes them overwhelmingly powerful. Imagine if like Boas could have conquerors, and then baby Boa and baby Mihawk could have conquerors on top of the Lunarian features. I don't think it's possible, but like if they have the combined DNA from the former Shibukai, then they should be. Oh man, I can't wait to see Doflamingos if it's based on the former Shibukai, but we'll see. So that is all for my review of chapter 1059, the Kobe incident. And what a chapter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I really want to engage you guys more, so let me know what you think. So that is all with me. Peace.